Have you ever wondered why some of the strongest people in this world were once the most overlooked? Why those who were ignored, underestimated, or forgotten often become the ones who stand unshaken while everyone else searches for approval? There is a lesson hidden inside being ignored, and most people never discover it. They mistake silence for failure, rejection for weakness, and loneliness for defeat. But what if these moments were never meant to break you? What if they were preparing you for a strength that cannot be taken away? The world teaches you to chase attention. It convinces you that your worth depends on how many people notice you, praise you, or agree with you. So when the phone remains silent, when your efforts go unnoticed, when your kindness is not returned, and when your presence seems invisible, your mind begins to question your value. But that question comes from fear, not from truth. The strongest tree does not grow because people admire it. It grows because its roots continue searching deeper into the earth, even through darkness. In the same way, your greatest growth begins when no one is watching. It begins when there is no applause, no encouragement, and no recognition. Only your commitment to keep moving forward. Many people give up because they believe being ignored means they are not enough. They waste their energy trying to prove themselves to those who have already decided not to see them. But the wise understand something different. They know that every moment spent chasing validation is a moment stolen from becoming who they were meant to be. There is a quiet power that awakens the moment you stop asking the world to acknowledge your existence. Instead of demanding attention, you build discipline. Instead of reacting with anger, you cultivate peace. Instead of explaining yourself, you allow time and your actions to reveal your character. This is not weakness. This is mastery. The people who ignore you may never realize the gift they have given you. By refusing to recognize your value, they force you to discover it for yourself. And once you find that inner certainty, it no longer depends on applause, acceptance, or approval. It becomes something no criticism can destroy and no rejection can diminish. So if you are walking through a season where you feel unseen, unheard, or forgotten, do not mistake this chapter for the end of your story. Some of life's greatest transformations happen in silence. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Steel is strengthened by fire, and the human spirit becomes unbreakable when it learns to stand alone without becoming bitter. Today, we will explore why being ignored can become your greatest advantage, how silence can become your strongest weapon, and why the people who overlooked you may one day witness a version of you that they never imagined possible. Stay until the end, because this lesson may completely change the way you see rejection, silence, and your own hidden strength. Most people believe that rejection is a sign to stop. They see closed doors, unanswered messages, overlooked efforts, and silent treatment as evidence that they are not good enough. This way of thinking creates unnecessary suffering because it gives other people the power to define your worth. But the deeper truth is that rejection often serves a purpose far greater than immediate acceptance ever could. It removes distractions, exposes false expectations, and creates the conditions where real strength can be developed. The moments that feel like setbacks are often the very moments that prepare you for the life you are meant to live. When someone ignores you, your first instinct may be to chase their attention. The mind begins asking endless questions. What did I do wrong? Why am I not enough? How can I make them notice me? These questions keep you trapped because they place your focus on someone else's opinion instead of your own growth. Every minute spent seeking validation is a minute taken away from building the person you could become. The strongest individuals understand that not every silence requires a response, and not every rejection deserves another attempt. Preparation rarely feels comfortable. A seed buried beneath the ground might appear forgotten, but in reality, it is preparing for life. It cannot become a mighty tree while remaining on the surface where everyone can admire it. It must first endure darkness, pressure, and isolation. Your own life follows a similar pattern. Before you are ready to stand confidently, you must first develop roots that cannot be shaken by criticism or praise. These roots are formed during the seasons when few people believe in you. Many people dream about success, yet they fear the loneliness that often comes before it. They want recognition without discipline, respect without patience, and achievement without sacrifice. But life has never worked that way. The greatest transformations happen away from the spotlight. They happen in quiet mornings when no one applauds your effort, in difficult evenings when you continue despite disappointment, and in ordinary days when you choose consistency over comfort. Rejection creates these opportunities because it removes the temptation to perform for others and invites you to work for yourself. There is also wisdom in understanding that not every closed door is a loss. Sometimes rejection protects you from paths that would have limited your potential. A person who refuses to appreciate your value may simply be making room for people who will. An opportunity that disappears may be creating space for something far greater than you could currently imagine. What feels unfair today may become the reason you are grateful tomorrow. Time has a remarkable way of revealing that many disappointments were hidden blessings. Your response to rejection determines whether it becomes a prison or a classroom. If you react with bitterness, resentment, or the constant need to prove yourself, rejection controls your future. But if you respond with reflection, discipline, and quiet determination, rejection becomes your greatest teacher. It teaches emotional control because you cannot depend on constant encouragement. It teaches patience because meaningful progress is rarely immediate. It teaches humility because every challenge reminds you there is always more to learn. Most importantly, it teaches self-respect because you begin to understand that your value exists long before anyone else recognizes it. Think about the people who inspire history. Very few of them were celebrated at the beginning of their journey. Many were doubted, ignored, misunderstood, or dismissed. If they had accepted rejection as the final verdict on their lives, the world would never have known their contribution. What separated them from everyone else was not extraordinary talent alone. It was their willingness to continue growing without immediate recognition. They allowed rejection to strengthen their character instead of weakening their confidence. Every difficult experience carries a hidden invitation. It asks whether you will become smaller because of the obstacle or greater because of the lesson. This choice belongs to no one else. The people who ignored you cannot decide your future unless you allow their actions to shape your identity. When you stop measuring your worth through the attention of others, you discover a freedom that cannot be taken away. You no longer waste energy trying to convince people to believe in you, because your energy is invested in becoming someone whose character speaks without words. The day will come when the same silence that once caused pain will become the reason for your strength. You will look back and realize that rejection was never sent to destroy your confidence. It was quietly preparing you to build a foundation so strong that your peace, purpose, and determination would no longer depend on the acceptance of anyone else. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must decide whether they will continue chasing approval or begin building a life that no longer depends on it. This decision is not made in a single day. It is made every time you choose silence over unnecessary arguments, discipline over attention, and purpose over popularity. The world encourages you to seek recognition. It tells you that your value increases when more people applaud your actions. Yet true strength has never been measured by how loudly the crowd celebrates you. It is measured by how firmly you stand when the crowd is silent. Seeking approval is exhausting because it places your happiness in the hands of people whose opinions constantly change. Today they may admire you, tomorrow they may criticize you, and the day after they may ignore you completely. If your confidence depends on their response, your emotions will rise and fall with every compliment and every rejection. This is not freedom. It is a quiet form of dependence. The stronger path is to develop a confidence that comes from knowing your principles, honoring your commitments, and living according to your values, regardless of who notices. Silence is often misunderstood. Many people believe that remaining silent means you have nothing to say, or that you are too weak to defend yourself. In reality, silence often requires far greater strength than speaking. It takes discipline to resist the urge to explain yourself to people who have already decided not to understand. It takes wisdom to walk away from arguments that only feed pride and resentment. It takes emotional maturity to recognize that not every accusation deserves a response and not every opinion deserves your attention. Your actions carry a weight that words can never achieve. Words can inspire, comfort, and persuade, but they can also be forgotten as quickly as they are spoken. Consistent action, however, leaves a lasting impression. A person who promises success but never works hard gains little respect. Another person may never speak about their goals, yet through steady effort they quietly transform their life. Over time, the difference becomes impossible to ignore. The loudest voice in the room is rarely the most influential. The person whose actions consistently reflect integrity, patience, and discipline becomes the one others naturally trust. There is great peace in allowing your life to become your message. Instead of constantly explaining your intentions, you simply live them. Instead of announcing every goal, you dedicate yourself to achieving it. Instead of arguing about your character, you demonstrate it through your daily choices. This approach removes unnecessary conflict because your focus shifts away from convincing others and towards improving yourself. Energy that was once wasted on defending your image is now invested in building genuine strength. People often underestimate the power of quiet consistency. They are impressed by dramatic beginnings, but lose interest when progress becomes slow and ordinary. Yet every meaningful achievement is built upon countless small actions, repeated with patience. A mountain is climbed one step at a time. A strong mind is formed one disciplined decision at a time. A respected character is built through thousands of moments where no one is watching. Those who seek applause usually stop when the applause disappears. Those who seek growth continue even in complete silence. There will always be people who misunderstand your silence. Some will mistake it for weakness because they expect you to react. Others will assume you have accepted defeat because you refuse to argue. Let them believe what they choose. You do not need to interrupt your journey every time someone creates a false story about you. Their assumptions belong to them, not to you. Your responsibility is not to control every opinion, but to remain faithful to the path you have chosen. Silence also teaches patience. It reminds you that meaningful results require time. When you stop seeking immediate recognition, you become willing to invest in long-term growth. You begin reading more, learning more, practicing more, and reflecting more. These quiet investments may not attract attention today, but they create abilities and wisdom that no amount of praise can replace. Eventually, your progress becomes visible without any announcement, because excellence has a way of revealing itself naturally. The most respected people rarely spend their lives demanding respect. They earn it through consistency, humility, and unwavering commitment. They understand that reputation built on words is fragile, while reputation built on character endures through changing circumstances. When difficulties arise, people do not remember what you claim to be. They remember how you acted under pressure, how you treated others when no reward was offered, and whether your actions matched your principles. As you continue your journey, remember that silence is not emptiness. It is the space where discipline grows, wisdom matures, and inner confidence takes root. Every time you choose meaningful action over empty approval, you strengthen a foundation that cannot be shaken by criticism or inflated by praise. In that quiet place, where your character is shaped far away from the noise of the world, you begin to realize that the strongest voice you will ever possess is the life you choose to live every single day. Pain is one of the few experiences that every human being shares, yet very few people truly understand its purpose. Most people spend their lives trying to avoid discomfort, believing that a life without pain is the highest form of happiness. But pain has never been the enemy. It is often the teacher that arrives without invitation, carrying lessons that comfort could never provide. The moments that hurt the most frequently become the moments that shape the strongest character. While pleasure may satisfy you for a season, pain has the power to transform you for a lifetime. When life unfolds according to your expectations, it is easy to remain confident. It is easy to smile when everything is going well, and to believe in yourself when every door seems open. The real test begins when those doors suddenly close. When people disappoint you, when your efforts are ignored, when your dreams take longer than expected, or when someone walks away without explanation, you are presented with a choice. You can allow the experience to fill your heart with bitterness, or you can allow it to deepen your wisdom. The pain itself does not determine your future. Your response to it does. Many people believe that difficult experiences exist only to make them suffer. They ask, "Why is this happening to me?" instead of asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That single change in perspective has the power to transform every hardship into an opportunity for growth. Every disappointment reveals something about your expectations. Every failure exposes an area where improvement is needed. Every rejection reminds you that your value cannot depend entirely on acceptance from others. Pain begins to lose its power when you stop resisting its lessons. Think of a piece of metal placed into intense fire. The fire does not destroy strong steel. It removes its weaknesses and prepares it for greater strength. Human character develops in much the same way. Challenges expose impatience, fear, pride, and insecurity. At first, this process feels uncomfortable because it forces you to confront parts of yourself that you would rather ignore. Yet without this process, those weaknesses remain hidden, quietly influencing your decisions for years. Pain brings them into the light where they can finally be transformed. One of the greatest gifts pain offers is humility. Success sometimes creates the illusion that you know everything, that you have complete control, or that nothing can stop your progress. Difficult moments remind you that life remains unpredictable, They encourage you to become more compassionate because you realize everyone carries unseen struggles. A person who has experienced disappointment often becomes more patient with others because they understand what it feels like to carry invisible burdens. Pain also teaches resilience. Resilience is not the ability to avoid falling. It is the willingness to rise every time life knocks you down. Each challenge you overcome becomes evidence that you are stronger than you once believed. Every obstacle survived becomes part of your foundation. The next difficulty may still hurt, but you no longer fear it in the same way, because experience has shown you that pain is temporary, while the strength gained from enduring it can remain for life. There is another lesson hidden within suffering that many people overlook. Pain strips away illusions. It reveals which relationships are genuine, which goals truly matter, and which habits quietly hold you back. During comfortable seasons, distractions are easy to ignore because everything appears stable. During difficult seasons, clarity emerges. You begin to recognize what deserves your energy and what no longer belongs in your life. In this way, pain becomes a guide, helping you simplify your path and focus on what is truly meaningful. It is important to understand that becoming stronger does not mean becoming emotionally cold. True strength is not built by refusing to feel. It is built by allowing yourself to experience disappointment without allowing it to define your identity. You acknowledge the hurt, learn from it, and continue moving forward with wisdom instead of resentment. The strongest people are not those who never cry or never struggle. They are those who refuse to let suffering harden their hearts or destroy their purpose. Time also changes the way you see painful experiences. What once felt like the greatest setback often becomes the very event that redirected your life towards something better. A missed opportunity may lead to a more meaningful one. A broken relationship may create space for healthier connections. A season of loneliness may become the period where you discover your own strength instead of depending on constant companionship. Looking back, you often realize that the moments you wish to escape became the moments that shaped the person you are today. As you continue your journey, remember that every challenge carries two possibilities. It can either leave you trapped in regret and self-pity, or it can awaken courage, patience, and quiet confidence that no easy path could ever produce. The pain you experience today does not have to become the story that limits your future. It can become the teacher that sharpens your mind, strengthens your spirit, and prepares you for responsibilities and opportunities that only a resilient heart is capable of carrying. The world often celebrates visible success while overlooking the invisible process that creates it. People admire the athlete standing on the podium, but rarely think about the countless mornings of training before sunrise. They applaud the successful entrepreneur, but never see the years of uncertainty, rejection, and quiet persistence that came before the breakthrough. They praise the confident individual, but do not witness the private battles fought against fear, doubt, and disappointment. Real growth has always happened away from applause, because transformation begins long before anyone else notices the results. Many people become discouraged because they expect immediate recognition for every effort they make. They believe that hard work should instantly be rewarded with praise, and that progress should always be visible to others. When recognition does not come, motivation begins to fade. This happens because their focus is directed outward instead of inward. They are working for attention rather than for improvement. The moment applause disappears, so does their desire to continue. Yet those who understand the nature of lasting success know that the most valuable work is often the work no one sees. Imagine a sculptor standing before a block of stone. Day after day, they strike the surface with patience and precision. To an observer, nothing appears to change for a long time. The stone looks almost the same, and the effort seems invisible. But every careful strike removes what does not belong. Eventually, a masterpiece begins to emerge. The final creation appears impressive, yet it is only the visible result of thousands of unseen actions. Your character develops in exactly the same way. Every disciplined choice, every temptation resisted, every promise kept, and every quiet sacrifice shapes the person you are becoming. There is a unique kind of freedom that comes from working without the need for constant recognition. When your motivation is no longer dependent on external approval, you become consistent. You no longer ask whether people are watching before giving your best effort. Excellence becomes your habit rather than your performance. Whether someone notices or not becomes irrelevant because your standard is determined by your own principles, not by the expectations of others. Private growth also protects you from unnecessary distractions. When every small achievement is announced, it often creates pressure to maintain an image instead of continuing genuine progress. Some people spend more time talking about their goals than pursuing them. They become attached to appearing successful rather than becoming successful. Silence removes this temptation. It allows you to invest your energy where it truly matters, in learning, practicing, improving, and developing the qualities that cannot be created overnight. Discipline grows strongest when no one is present to encourage you. It is easy to remain committed when others are cheering, praising, or supporting your efforts. The real measure of discipline is revealed when there is complete silence. Can you continue studying when no one congratulates your dedication? Can you continue exercising when no one compliments your appearance? Can you continue acting with integrity even when no reward is offered? These are the moments that shape unshakable character because your actions are no longer driven by attention, but by conviction. Nature itself teaches this lesson with remarkable clarity. A tree does not become tall in a single season. Before its branches reach towards the sky, its roots quietly spread beneath the ground, where no one can admire them. Those hidden roots determine whether the tree can survive storms in the future. If the roots remain weak, the first strong wind will bring the tree down. Human growth follows the same pattern. Your knowledge, patience, emotional control, and resilience are the unseen roots that support every visible achievement. Without them, success becomes fragile and temporary. Many people compare their beginning to someone else's success. They see only the finished result and forget the years of invisible preparation. This comparison creates frustration because it ignores the process that every meaningful accomplishment requires. Instead of asking why someone else is ahead, ask whether you are faithfully building your own foundation. Progress measured against others creates anxiety. Progress measured against your previous self creates wisdom and confidence. Another gift of growing away from applause is humility. Quiet progress reminds you that mastery is never complete. There is always another lesson to learn, another habit to improve, another weakness to strengthen. This mindset keeps you teachable and grounded. Pride often grows in those who seek constant recognition, but humility flourishes in those who understand that every achievement is the product of countless unseen efforts repeated over time. Eventually, the results of private discipline become impossible to hide. Confidence begins to appear in the way you carry yourself. Wisdom becomes evident in the way you respond to challenges. Strength is revealed in your ability to remain calm when others lose control. People may suddenly describe your success as overnight, but you know the truth. You remember the quiet mornings, the lonely evenings, the difficult choices, and the moments when continuing seemed harder than quitting. Those unseen hours became the foundation of everything visible. Never underestimate the power of silent preparation. Every page you read, every skill you practice, every distraction you resist, and every promise you keep to yourself is shaping a future that cannot yet be seen. While others search for quick recognition, continue investing in the invisible work that builds lasting character, because the strongest people are not created by the applause they receive, but by the quiet discipline they maintain when no one is watching. One of the greatest misunderstandings in life is believing that your value depends on how much attention you receive from other people. From an early age, many are taught to measure themselves through praise, acceptance, popularity, or recognition. When others approve of them, they feel worthy. When they are ignored, criticized, or rejected, they begin to doubt themselves. This way of living places your identity in the hands of people whose opinions constantly change. It creates a fragile confidence that rises with compliments and falls with criticism. True inner strength begins the moment you realize that your worth has never been determined by someone else's ability to recognize it. Imagine a diamond buried deep beneath the earth. For years, no one sees it. No one admires it or speaks of its beauty. Yet its value does not disappear simply because it remains hidden. The diamond is precious long before it is discovered. In the same way, your character, abilities, wisdom, and potential do not become valuable only when others acknowledge them. They already exist within you. Recognition may reveal value, but it does not create it. Understanding this truth frees you from the exhausting need to constantly prove yourself. Many people spend years chasing acceptance from those who have already decided not to appreciate them. They work harder to impress those who ignore them than they do to improve themselves. This pursuit slowly drains their confidence because no amount of effort can force someone to see what they are unwilling to see. The more you seek validation from people who refuse to give it, the more control they gain over your emotions. Every ignored message, every lack of appreciation, and every dismissive response begins to influence your peace. Yet the moment you stop asking others to confirm your worth, you reclaim the power that always belonged to you. Knowing your value is not arrogance. It is not believing you are better than anyone else. Arrogance demands attention and constantly seeks superiority. Genuine self-worth remains calm. It does not need to announce itself or compete with others. A person who understands their value does not become offended by every criticism because they know one opinion cannot erase years of effort, integrity, and growth. They listen with humility, learn where improvement is needed, and let unnecessary judgments pass without carrying them in their heart. Life will always present situations where people misunderstand you. Some may overlook your kindness, underestimate your abilities, or fail to recognize your intentions. If your happiness depends entirely on their understanding, disappointment becomes inevitable. Not everyone will appreciate your journey, because not everyone sees the world through the same eyes. Some people judge quickly without knowing your story. Others project their own fears and insecurities onto you. Their perception reflects their own perspective more than your true identity. Learning this allows you to stop carrying burdens that were never yours to bear. There is great peace in accepting that you cannot control how others see you. You can only control the person you choose to become. Every day offers an opportunity to strengthen your character, deepen your wisdom, and refine your actions. These qualities remain with you regardless of whether they are noticed immediately. The approval of others may come and go, but the confidence built through honesty, discipline, and perseverance stays with you, because it is rooted in something far deeper than public opinion. When you truly understand your own worth, comparison begins to lose its grip. You no longer measure your progress against someone else's achievements, because you realize every individual walks a different path. Instead of asking why another person receives more attention, you ask whether you are becoming a better version of yourself than you were yesterday. This shift transforms competition into growth. Your focus moves away from proving your value and towards expressing it through the way you live. People often assume that success will finally make them feel worthy. They believe that once they earn enough money, gain enough followers, receive enough compliments, or achieve enough recognition, they will finally be satisfied. Yet countless successful people continue searching for validation because external achievements cannot fill an internal emptiness. Lasting confidence is built from within. It grows through keeping promises to yourself, acting with integrity when no one is watching, and remaining faithful to your principles, even when they are unpopular. Your value is also reflected in the way you treat yourself. When you know your worth, you stop accepting relationships that repeatedly disrespect you. You stop shrinking your dreams to make others comfortable. You stop apologizing for existing and begin standing quietly in your truth. This does not make you cold or distant. It makes you emotionally healthy because you understand that self-respect is the foundation upon which every meaningful relationship is built. There will always be people who fail to see your potential, just as there will always be people who recognize it immediately. Neither group has the authority to define who you are. Their opinions may influence how they respond to you, but they cannot change the value that already exists within your character. The strongest individuals walk through both praise and criticism with the same steady heart, because they understand that neither applause nor rejection determines their identity. Their confidence is rooted in discipline, guided by purpose, strengthened through experience, and protected by the quiet certainty that their worth does not depend on who chooses to notice them.